Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados.
Because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Nathan.
Welcome to episode 148 of Adventures and Mousecapades. This week, even though it's spooky season, beware because Mariah Carey is thawing out for Christmas. It's almost time, and we will be inundated with peppermint-based drinks and Christmas music.
Whoa, here she comes.
Yes, look out.
She's a Christmas eater?
Singer.
There you go. Alicia, what are we going to talk about today?
Today we are talking about Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Hollywood.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to hear all about this.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mostly because I will never do this. So I'm interested to live vicariously. So this was a few weeks ago now. You and Sterling and Kaitlyn and her best friend Sanae all met up down there in LA at Universal. And you did Horror Nights, which
yes. This was part of Sterling's 13th birthday celebration. He really wanted to do Halloween Horror Nights because Kaitlyn and I had talked it up so much. And I will tell you what his final thoughts were at the end of this, if he'll be joining us for future Halloween Horror Night events or not.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Well, Alicia, what is Halloween Horror Nights?
It's Universal Studios Halloween celebration, basically. They put on some very scary haunted houses based on different themes, different IP, intellectual property for those who don't know what IP is. And they have it in Florida, in Orlando, and in Hollywood, California. And I don't know if there are ones in any of their international parks or not.
I think we've seen some stuff. They do a little bit, I don't want to say an abbreviated, but it's not as an intense of a Horror Nights kind of experience in Japan.
That's right. And I don't think it's a separately ticketed event. So
Right.
The ones in the domestic parks in Orlando and in Hollywood are a separate ticket. I don't have the Orlando prices, but for Hollywood, general admission starts at $77. Obviously, as it gets closer to Halloween, it goes up a little more. And if it's on the weekends, it goes up a little more. There's also something called a frequent fear pass, which means you can go on select dates throughout the Horror Night season, which happens to run September 5th through November 3rd. It's a, what would you call that?
Annual pass, season pass?
Yes, it's a season pass. They have both a frequent fear pass for $149 and an ultimate fear pass for $269. And the ultimate fear has no blackout dates.
Got it.
Now, what Kaitlyn, Sterling, Sanae, and myself did was something called an RIP tour, VIP tour, but for dead.
Oh my gosh. I'm scared already.
Yes. And I love this pass. I am all about not waiting in lines, and that is what this pass does. It's a private tour, basically a VIP, RIP tour of all of the haunted houses, all of the scare zones. You have a guide bringing you through things. They give you food. Price is a little more expensive. It is $459 per person, and it is for one specific date. Now, what you get for this, personally, I think it is very much worth it. And I will say this because, one, you get to go through every single house that there is. There were some that had wait times of over 90 minutes.
Eesh.
You also get food. You get a nice buffet dinner. You get, if you drive, you get valet parking. You also get what they call the unlimited express pass, because they do have some of the rides open.
Okay.
And it's the skip the line pass. So after you're done doing all your haunting, you can go on rides if you like. You also get your own private group tram for the tour. Hollywood is really cool because they have a backlot tram tour involved in this Horror Nights set.
Oh, neat.
And so like where they have all the movie sets, they spook them up for Halloween and you get your own little tram to go through there, but we'll go through that as well.
Very cool. So Halloween Horror Nights, it's select nights. What time does it start in the evening? Like what's the hours?
I believe it starts at 7:00.
Okay. So you can have a regular pass to go in for the day if you have a day ticket or an annual pass or something like that. But if you want to be there, at least in the domestic parks for Halloween Horror Nights, you need to have one of these flavors of access to get into that after hours event.
Some of the houses do open up a little early. You can actually buy an early pass to get in so you can enjoy some of the rides or just early access to the houses too. Because I will say our tour this year started at 5:00.
Okay.
Which is before everything opens up. Last year we did, I think 7:30 or 8:30. And one of the reasons I wanted to do an earlier pass was because once you finish up with everything, you can go on the rides.
Got it.
And the earlier you start your tour, the more time that you have afterwards to enjoy rides.
That math checks out.
Yes.
Okay, so in the parks, there are scare zones and there's haunted houses. So
Yes.
haunted houses makes a little bit more sense, I think, kind of just intrinsically. It is a building, it is some sort of set, and you're walking through a haunted house. What is a scare zone?
A scare zone is basically when you walk through any theme park, there's walkways, corridors, whatever. And they basically take an area there and make it scary. It'll have a theme. Like one of the themes was murder of crows. And they had these scare actors on the tallest stilts imaginable, dressed up like murder crows. Like not a group of crows, although it was a group of crows, but they were very scary looking and they had red eyes and clacky beaks and they were very tall. One of them had a top hat on.
That's amazing. I will say that probably is my new favorite grunge band name, Murder of Crows.
Murder of Crows. Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, and all the scare zones have a Z at the end of the name
Of course.
because it's scary.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it.
There's
Yes.
like chainsaw punks with a Z. I didn't really like the scare zones as much this year.
Okay.
Usually on the scare zones, there's a lot of chainsaw wielding people. And chainsaws are not scary to me at all.
No, they're flipping annoying.
They are annoying. They are stinky and they are loud. And nobody in our party was like, chainsaws. So people didn't go after us because we're just like, whatever.
Now, I will say, having walked through the scare zones and going to Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando last year, where I let you do all of the scary stuff and I did not, the chainsaws, for those who are wondering, do not have the chain on them. So you still have the blade that is guiding the chain were the chain there. And of course you have the gas engine. So fear not, you're not going to get hacked up by somebody wielding a chainsaw.
It's just noisy. That's it.
Yeah.
And they're, of course, dressed to the nines in their scariness based on the different themes. And I will say, so chainsaws do scare some people just from all the screaming and usually ladies freaking out and running away. And of course, if that happens, they get chased because it's fun.
Yeah. I remember in those scare zones, I just put on my do not mess with me face and looked at the ground and did not engage and walked right through.
Yep.
So
I much prefer the scare actors that do not have the chainsaws that are walking around because they can be really creepy and that's a lot of fun.
yeah. All right. So it's 5:00. You get into the park, you check in, you go to, I'm assuming, some special place for RIP tour guests where you need to check in. What's first on the agenda?
Well, check-in is at the VIP check-in area. So we go in, we checked in, we go upstairs to the area there, and they let us know who our tour guide was. Our tour guide was Kurt, and he was amazing. Like I would try to get him for future years. He was just great. And the first thing we did was we headed over to dinner. which is over in the Moulin Rouge restaurant. And both
Okay.
the girls were like, "We've been there." I'm like, this is a different one. It's not as cheesy and corny. So yeah.
Wait. Are you saying that the real Moulin Rouge in Paris is more cheesy and corny than what they have in Hollywood, California?
It's boobtacular.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Fair enough.
So many boobs.
Wait, the one in Hollywood or the one in Paris?
The one in Paris.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Got it.
Just in case you didn't know, the Moulin Rouge in Paris is a cabaret style show that has a lot of topless ladies, a lot of singing, a lot of muscular men, and it's just the cheesiest show ever, but it is so much fun. The Moulin Rouge in Hollywood Universal Studios does not have any of that. It is a restaurant.
Damn.
And it was buffet style food. Lots of different options. The dinner this year was better than it was last year. I got a variety of pastas. I got some, I think it was prime rib or something. They had sushi there. It was a California roll. So I didn't want to do theme park, actual sushi. So.
Good call. Yeah. I think that's a safe bet. Yeah.
Yeah. And sodas and stuff. Oh, and they did have a bar there. I think your first drink was included. I had a slight headache, so I did not want to have any alcohol. Kurt did let us know that you are not allowed to bring alcohol onto the tram, but you can bring coffee cups.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Wink, wink.
Yes. Like I said, Kurt was awesome.
Nice.
He was very funny, and Sterling took an absolute shine to him, and they just had an amazing time chatting about all sorts of stuff.
That's cool. That's great.
I did ask everybody what their predictions were for the different houses, how scary they thought it was going to be. So I'll go through the houses and I'll let you know what everybody's prediction was.
Okay.
I will say I don't really get scared at haunted houses. Like, if somebody does a jump scare, yeah, that's going to scare me.
Right.
But I don't really get like freaked out by them. I guess I just know too much, like, this is all makeup and people, and I cannot get that just suspension of disbelief in when I walk through them. So they don't bother me. I like to see the just how everything's put together, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The surprise will, of course, surprise you, but you're not like fearing for your life.
Exactly.
All right.
One of the other upsides about doing this RIP tour is you don't have to walk everywhere. Hollywood is a multi-tiered park. There are a lot of hills. There is a lot of walking up and down these hills to get to where you want to go. And you don't have to do that with this tour. You just get into their VIP tram, trolley, whatever you want to call it, and they will shuttle you around to get to the different levels of the park.
Very cool.
Yes.
Nice.
So we started out, they brought us down to the lower lot for the Ghostbusters house and the Insidious house. The Ghostbusters house is based on the most recent Ghostbusters movie, which is Frozen Empire, I believe, which I didn't really enjoy. The movie, I mean, yeah. I asked everybody what their thoughts were on this, and myself, Sanae, and Kaitlyn all thought this would be a scare factor of 2 out of 5.
Okay.
And Sterling thought it would be a 2.5.
Okay.
This was cute. It followed the movie pretty closely. There's some really cool effects in here. Mm-hmm. You started out in Ray's occult books, and Kaitlyn said the person at the beginning really got her. The theming is really super cute and fun, and I agree with that. And Sanae said she really liked the theming in it as well. Slimer was in the hot dog cart before we got into the house, and he was popping up, and really cute. I did watch video of the Orlando houses before doing the Hollywood houses. I liked the Orlando house that they offered much better. I think the coolest thing about this house was the little tiny marshmallow man. But there was only one.
Really?
And the one in the Orlando house had dozens. This one only had one. Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah. The atmosphere there was kind of cool. The story followed, like I said, the movie pretty close. It wasn't anything really scary, but it was a fun house to go through.
That doesn't seem like what you want for a haunted house. Like words like cute and fun. Like,
Yeah, I mean there were some scary parts because there's the jump scares and everything, but I think they want to have a house in every Halloween Horror Nights that is not super intense.
got it. Okay, that makes sense.
This was definitely the not super intense one.
Got it. Okay. And we should be clear here that, and we'll talk about our ratings. Like, Sanae actually is an actress in horror movies. So
She is.
She's used to this kind of stuff.
But it's different actually. It's different acting and then going through it
Completely understood. But like,
Yeah.
I think her level of awareness and understanding and experience with this kind of thing is much different from the rest of y'all.
She has never been to Halloween Horror Nights.
What?
This was her very first one.
Wow.
And I gathered thoughts from both of the girls, and I'll read those at the end so you can
Cool.
see everything. But
What were the final ratings for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire?
final ratings, Ghostbusters for Kaitlyn was a 1 for a scare factor. Same with Sanae.
Okay. So cute.
Yep. Yep. I did not get Sterling's thoughts afterwards, and we'll talk about a little bit more why
Okay.
at the end.
Okay. Fair enough.
The second house we were all kind of freaked out about because it was Insidious the further. This is from the Insidious movie franchise, which we watched the first movie a couple weeks before we went, as I believe it was. Yeah. And just the first one. There's, I think, 4 or 5 movies.
Okay.
And it was pretty freaky. And we were ready to be terrified on this one. Our predictions, Sanae, Kaitlyn, and Sterling all thought this would be a 5 out of 5.
Okay.
And I thought it would be a 4.
All right.
Same with what I saw in the Orlando house. This one was not as intense as the Orlando house.
Interesting. I think we've heard that from like Molly from Mammoth Club, that she did both coasts this year. And that was her takeaway too, was that the stuff in Orlando is just a little bit more, really,
Yes.
I guess. Yeah.
Yes. And I did know that there was a smell in this house to be wary of.
Oh no.
They pipe smells into the haunted houses. Sometimes
Okay.
they're great smells. Sometimes they are not. I knew that one of the scenes in here was a vomit smell,
Oh gosh.
and I knew where it was. I did let the party know because I have visceral reactions to that smell, and I did not want that to mess with me. So I saw when we were getting into a certain part, I'm like, I'm going to hold my breath as long as I can. And I did not smell it at all. So
I heard that the opening night in California for Horror Nights was in the middle of a pretty significant heat wave.
Oh.
And they really had that smell cranked. And the building inside was very hot and very stuffy. And
Interesting.
they
They're
had to
usually
dial
not.
They
but
had
yeah.
to dial that back. Well, I mean, it was in the mid to upper 90s during the day, and the buildings were just baking, and the smell was added to. We'll just say.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I mean, I know they're like, if I see somebody crying, I start crying. That's just how I have that reaction. And I know there are people where if they smell that, they'll have that reaction as well. So I'm not surprised that they had people contributing to the smell. This was a scary house.
Yeah.
This was a scary house. Kaitlyn said this was definitely the scariest house, but not as bad as she thought it was going to be. From what people were saying, she was expecting a lot more. Mm-hmm. Her and Sanae did end up going through this one again, and we're still terrified. And this house seemed to go on forever. It was pretty long, which I think is fine. I enjoy those.
Got it.
Kaitlyn and Sanae both voted this a 4 afterwards.
Okay.
Saying Sanae said the last part of the house is a 5. I don't remember what happened at the very end, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
What did you think? You think it was a 4?
No, I thought it was a 3.
Okay. You're just so brave. I'm so proud
Like
of
I
you.
said, it doesn't affect me. I mean, the jump scares will get me, sure. There was a house last year that was scarier than this in my mind, and that was the Exorcist house. And it was just because the children chanting "the body and the blood" over and over was the freakiest thing ever. So, yeah.
Well, moving on, what was the next house y'all hit?
Well, we didn't do a house next. We actually got to do part of the tram tour, the Terror Tram. The Terror Tram theme this year was Blumhouse, and Blumhouse is a production company that does horror films like The Black Phone, Megan, The Purge, along with other things that I haven't seen any of them. So the tour is a mix of a tram tour and a walking tour. You get to walk through a lot of set areas that they have in their backlot tram tour.
Okay.
Like the Bates Motel area, which is kind of cool. They have all these scare actors set up in there.
Yeah.
And actually get to go past the Hollywood sign and get to go see the actual house that they used in Psycho.
Oh, wow.
The Bates house. It's there, and Mother is up there and everything. We got to get a little show of the Blumhouse stuff at the very beginning. We got to see Megan going all psychotic and killing people. Kind of cool, kind of weird. And let's see, we did get to do a photo with Norman Bates in front of the house, which was really neat. He and Sterling actually had a mini conversation, and I did videotape that. It was kind of loud though, so couldn't really hear entirely what he was saying. But Norman Bates looked really creepy. He just had a creepy smile on his face. Yeah. One pretty cool thing that they did with the Hollywood sign is they bloodied it up.
Oh no.
So, and there's actors or mannequins from The Purge like in front of it, but
of course
it looked really neat. I wanted to get a picture in front of it, but we were walking. So I just got some walking shots of the sign. I'll try and remember to put a photo carousel together so you can see what that looks like, because it's pretty neat. Another area that you get to walk through is the War of the Worlds set from, I think it's 2012 or something. It's the one that has Tom Cruise in it. And this set is amazing to walk through when it's not Halloween Horror Nights, because they actually took a jet plane, I think it was a 747, and ripped it apart and made it look like it crashed into a neighborhood. And all that is still there, and you can walk through it.
Wow.
It is extremely eerie, especially when it's getting dark, when there's fog and light effects, and you have people walking around like it's the middle of the Purge movie.
Oh, jeez.
It's really creepy. So you got the scare actors popping out there. We also got to go, because we are part of the RIP tour, they have a separate section for RIP tour guests. We also got to go in there where there's different sets in there. You can go in and get pictures with different people. Okay. You can get your picture with the grabber from Black Phone, and he had fun with Sterling.
Yeah, I see that in the pictures.
Yep. You can get your picture with Megan, the doll from the movie Megan, and with some Purge actors as well. We also got to walk through the set of Nope.
Oh, wow.
Which is Jupiter's Claim. And only the RIP tour guests got to go through this. They had a little interaction going on. One of the tour guides was just talking about Jupiter's Claim and everything like that. And then all of a sudden, somebody from the movie Us, one of the tethered, came up and just started screaming. And
oh my gosh.
Freaky as heck. Running in her red jumpsuit and scissors and going after the tour guide. So yeah, that was interesting. And so we started walking away, or walking down the set, and then they came up behind Sterling and I and just bloody murder screaming super loud right behind us. So that scared us a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah. And as part of this, we get to go on the tram and go in different areas of the back lot, just to get from place to place. And apparently there was a Porsche convention that had rented out the place. So there was Porsches all over the place. It was kind of weird.
Interesting.
The next house we got to do was Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. And this was in stage 12, which is one of the big, huge studio stages where they actually shoot movies. And the reason this one was so cool is because this is where they actually shot Frankenstein. Like the birthplace of the Universal Monsters was in this soundstage.
Oh, wow.
And they put this actual house, it's a Van Helsing house basically, in the soundstage. So that was kind of cool, a nice little nod to history and everything.
Yeah.
And the premise of this house was the great-great-granddaughter or somebody of Van Helsing was teaming up with the Bride of Frankenstein to go after Dracula's daughter or something like that. This was an all-female cast in the house.
Oh, wow.
And it was such an amazing premise, but the house itself was a bit of a letdown, I will say.
Aw.
So predictions for this one, Sanae predicted a 1, Kaitlyn predicted a 2, I predicted a 3, and Sterling predicted a 3.5. It really wasn't very scary. And we didn't get a great run through of this house. I think the timing just wasn't great when we got through. And you can go through houses multiple times and get a totally different scare setup just depending on timing. And this one just wasn't great. Kaitlyn said she couldn't follow the storyline really well. And Sanae is like, I'm sorry, this story was so boring. Oh my God. Like I said, it was an interesting premise. It just wasn't executed very well.
Yeah.
And it could have just been, like I said, the timing of how we got through it all.
Yeah.
After this, we got a little bit of a break. We got to go to, there's a little bar area over by Jurassic. I don't know the ride. It's the water Jurassic ride.
Okay.
And there's a little bar up there. We got to sit down. Sterling really wanted a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man snack. So Kaitlyn and Sanae were nice enough to go grab one of those for him and bring it up. This is really cute. It's a marshmallow s'more, but it's humongous. And the marshmallow is the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
It looks amazing.
It's about the size of, like, the whole thing is about the size of my hand, my entire hand. And it is crazy sweet because that is a pretty thick, chunky marshmallow.
That's a huge marshmallow.
Yeah. We all had some of it. I don't know if we finished it off or not, but it was good. I would get this again.
Cool.
Yeah. It looked really cute. And I got an alcoholic drink too. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't very good though.
Aw.
The next house we got to was Dead Exposure Death Valley. And this was kind of a zombie type house.
Okay.
In Death Valley. It was like zombie and radiation and experimentation. Sanae predicted it would be a 2. Kaitlyn predicted it would be a 4. I predicted a 3 and Sterling a 3.7. It was an odd storyline. Like I said, it had to do with scientific experimentation on people and chimpanzees and adding radiation into the mix, and zombies came through. And Kaitlyn does not like zombies, so she did not really like the story. She said she was scared multiple times by the same person, though. It was just, I don't know, it was kind of weird in there. I didn't like this house. Yeah. Afterwards, Kaitlyn voted it a 3 and Sanae voted it a 2.
Okay.
We got to walk through a couple of scare zones after this. We walked through the Murder of Crows. We walked through the Dia de los Muertos area where one of the scare actors took a shining to Sterling. That is, I'm going to butcher this pronunciation. I think it's La Llorona.
Okay.
And she goes after children. So she just like walked up to him and she was like touching her face like, oh, it's a small child. He's so, whatever.
Yeah.
And then just kind of reached her arms up for him. And he's just like looking at her like, hi.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of fitting we walked through this area because the next house was Monstros 2, The Nightmares of Latin America.
Oh, boy.
This is Monstros 2, and Monstros 1 was last year, and Kaitlyn and I got to go through it. And that was one of the houses that we loved.
Yeah.
So both of us were quite excited for this house. Predictions, Sanae predicted it would be a 2. Kaitlyn and I predicted it would be a 4, and Sterling predicted it would be a 4.5. One of the good things about this house is it smelled amazing in here. It smelled like cinnamon the entire time. It
Excellent.
was great. I did like this house. They structured it very similar to the one last year where it was highlighting different Latin America monsters throughout the house. There are a lot of animatronics in this too, and there's a really cool one where it's humongous clawed hands coming out from underneath a bed.
Oh, wow.
That was really neat. Some of it was hard to follow. They're really pushing you through these houses fast. So like I said, it really depends on you going through. But
yeah, on your timing
Yeah. I did like this one. I would go through it again. I didn't go through any house more than once. But I think Kaitlyn and Sanae went through this one again.
Okay.
Scare factor afterwards, Kaitlyn said it was a 3 and Sanae said it was a 2. So the weekend had a house this year. I think this is the third one. I don't think he had it last year in Hollywood, but the year before he did have one in Orlando, and I went through that one. It was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Now, to those who don't know, The Weeknd is a pop song artist, not necessarily like, Saturday and Sunday.
Yes. Sorry. And some of his videos are just weird and have a slight horror vibe to them. So thusly, he has a haunted house. There was some really wacky stuff going on in this house, but the music was great and it was fun. This is a fun house.
Cool.
I had forgotten that there was a house by the weekend, so we didn't predict anything on this one. Kaitlyn rated this a 3 afterwards, and Sanae rated it as a 3 as well. Then this one they went through again and found it scarier the second time we went through. There's more scare actors in the house, is what she said.
Got it.
The next house we went to was A Quiet Place. This is based on the movie franchise, the first 2 films, 1 and 2, not the most recent one, A Day One. And the premise of the movie is aliens invade, and they are triggered by sound, by pretty much any sound, and they will attack if they hear things. So the world has to go quiet. This house was very well done. It was very quiet inside, and they wanted you to be as quiet as you could. The scare actors were doing ASL, American Sign Language, throughout the house, which is really neat to see. The animatronics in here were astounding and very freaky, very scary. I'm trying to remember if I got scared in this one or not. I think there was a couple jump scares that got me. I think I squeaked once, maybe. Kaitlyn says she did get got a couple of times, but was mostly in awe of the animatronics. And the whole aspect of trying to stay quiet through this was pretty cool. It did immerse you in the experience.
And I've heard like most people are trying to do that too as they go through the house. Like everybody's kind of in that storyline element and trying to not make noise. So that's cool.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if anybody was dressed as one of the creatures or not, or if the creatures were all animatronic. I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay.
But there were a lot of scare actors just like as people in there too.
Yeah.
This was fun. I liked this one. I would have gone through this one again. The animatronics were cool, just not super scary is what Sanae said. The last one was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I haven't seen any of these movies. I don't think Kaitlyn has either. Sanae has, though.
Okay.
Both the girls says this was like their second scariest house next to Insidious. Kaitlyn says she was not expecting this house to be so scary, which she thinks made it scarier than the others.
Yeah.
And Sanae said she liked the concept that they used all the different iterations of Leatherface.
Oh, neat.
If any of you have watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, this house brought you into the butcher shop.
Oh, no.
I think that's what it was called. So, and I don't think any of the movies have done that. So it's a very behind the scenes area. This house smelled so bad the entire time. It was absolutely disgusting. And I don't know how to describe this smell. It wasn't a poop smell, which some of the houses have had before. It was almost a rancid meat type smell.
Oh.
It was bad. I had to cover my nose. I had to like breathe into my shirt. It was very difficult for me to get through this house because of the smell. Kaitlyn says she actually has nightmares about the smell. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I did not like this house at all. And it was purely because it stank so bad. I think I could have enjoyed it a lot more and gotten the storyline a lot more if I wasn't so focused on the smell. I cannot imagine how bad this house was during the heat wave.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
Yeah.
Yikes.
That was all the houses. Let me give you some thoughts from both of the girls. Kaitlyn said she had overall a lot of fun at Halloween Horror Nights. Last year, she thought the houses and theming were a little spookier in general, but this year was pretty scary too. The tour is really nice to be able to get to every house without waiting in a super long line for only 2 minutes of being in a house. This is true. I mean, these things, people wait in line for hour plus to get into a house that lasts 2 minutes.
So it's very much like an attraction ride where, you know, you want to go ride, whatever it is, Rise of the Resistance or some, Jurassic Park roller coaster, the Velocicoaster or whatever, and you're in line for 2 hours for a ride that lasts 90 seconds. So it's
exactly.
At least consistent that way.
Yeah. Kaitlyn also says she thinks it's worth it to do the earlier tour because they had more time to do stuff after the tour was over. Her and Sanae got to go through 3 houses again, as well as go on a ride, and they could have done even more because you get to use the express lane for rides with the VIP pass.
Very cool.
And going back through the houses too. So scare zones, her favorite scare zone was the murder of crows. Really cool idea with the crows on stilts. She said it was a little disappointing because there weren't very many scare actors in there.
Huh.
She didn't really like the chainsaw punk scare zone. It was the same thing over and over. It's just the people chasing you with chainsaws.
Yeah.
Oh, there was also a Luchadores Monstruos. Luchadores, like the Latin America wrestling type thing.
Yeah. With the masks.
Yeah, they had the Universal Monsters dress up like luchadors. It was so fun.
That's amazing.
I totally forgot about that one. That one was really cool. I wish we could have seen a little more of that. She says she really liked the Terror Tram. She liked the Blumhouse theme, and it was cool to see all the characters. And the RIP add-ons were really nice, especially that we got to go through Jupiter's Claim.
Yeah.
The experiences of going through the houses really depends on luck. I very much agree with that. You can go into a house and not get any scares just based on where you are in the line. So the experience really differs for everyone.
Yeah.
Overall, a lot of fun. Liked last year's better though, because of the IPs last year had Stranger Things and The Last of Us, and it was just genuinely scarier.
There you have it.
Also, she did not know Sanae was coming. That was a big surprise. Sanae showed up in the line. I knew Sanae was coming because I invited her. But so that was really fun to have her just show up there. So let's see. Sanae says, overall really enjoyed Halloween Horror Nights 2024. It was her first time going to Halloween Horror Nights, but exceeded her expectations. Good. The RIP tour is one of the few VIP experiences that she thinks is actually worth the price. The food was good, the tour was fun and insightful, and the real star of the RIP experience is the designated line. Not once did we have to wait more than 2 minutes to get into the house, which really does make a difference. There are people that cannot get through all the houses in one night if you just have a general admission thing.
Right.
Oh, I should also notate, there were a couple more experiences. There was the Purge show, which is in the Waterworld Theater. They update it to the Purge. So it's maybe a 15, 20-minute show. Water-based, there's jet skis, there's explosions, there's pyrotechnics, all sorts of stuff. A lot gorier than I thought it was going to be. There was blood and chunks flying through the air, like flesh chunks.
Hooray!
Yeah. Fun.
Yeah.
They also had a Chucky, like the toy doll horror movie Chucky talk show experience that we did not go in and do. Yeah.
Sure, Chucky needs a talk show.
One other thing to note that we did not do is if you are on the RIP tour, you get admission into Super Nintendo Land that night from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We didn't do it this year because we went to the park the next morning and we had tickets to go to early entry for Nintendo.
Got it. So we haven't talked about Sterling. You kind of teased at the very top that Sterling has some opinions.
Yes.
What are Sterling's opinions?
I don't believe he'll be joining us next year on this trip. I don't think he's cut out for haunted houses. I did have quite a few conversations with him ahead of time on this. Like, this is going to be scary. Tried to prep him watching scary movies. And he's fine watching the scary movies.
Yeah.
But getting immersed in the world is a little different. A lot of times, no, I'd say pretty much every time, I had to be holding on to him. I had my arm around him the whole time, and he was holding on to my hand the whole time.
Yeah.
But he had his ears plugged for most of them and was looking at the floor for most of them.
Oh,
Yeah. He still went through every single one.
that's good.
He really enjoyed the tram tour.
Okay.
The terror tram. He enjoyed that part of it. He enjoyed getting to meet the scare actors and doing picture poses with them and everything.
Yeah.
And he really enjoyed the Purge section and the Purge water show.
Okay.
So much so that is what he's doing for Halloween. He wants to do the Purge stuff. I'm like, even though he hasn't seen the movies, that's okay. Whatever. Yep.
Interesting. So, yeah, he and I can hang out and not go to these, and y'all can go have fun.
It was so much fun. I loved it. I mean, I was concentrating on Sterling a lot, so did not have the full effect
Yeah.
of the houses, and maybe that's why they didn't scare me as much, or that's just how I am with houses. I don't know.
Would you do it again next year?
Oh yeah, I'd love to do this every single year.
All right. Noted.
I think it's just it's a fun experience. I don't mind getting scared. I really don't. And I love the atmosphere of everything and watching the people reacting to everything as well. I love the tour guides. Our guide was amazing this year. Our guide was great last year as well. It's a heck ton of walking though, that's for sure. Even though we're still on the tram, it's still a lot of walking.
Yeah.
I would not be able to do this without the RIP tour.
Got it. Well, we'll save some money from Sterling and I not going.
Yes.
And then y'all can go. So it'll be great. We'll maybe, hopefully the calendar works out and Sterling and I can still go down and not do Halloween Horror Nights. We'll go do something else that evening.
Yeah.
And then we'll go do Oogie Boogie again.
There you go.
I missed that this year, and I very, very, very much want to do that next year.
These are both great. I love them both. They're such different experiences,
Yeah.
but both of them are so much fun.
All right. Well, with all of that, we are not affiliated with Universal or Disney or their subsidiaries. These are personal opinions and suggestions based on our own experiences. We recommend working with a travel agent or contacting Disney or Universal directly to plan your perfect vacation.
If you have questions or suggestions or would like to be interviewed on our show to share your own experiences, please send an email to podcast@ourmousecapades.com.
Go ahead and follow us on socials. We're at Our Mousecapades. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, YouTube, and even Twitter.
Please give us a rating and review in your podcast app. It really helps people to find us.
And of course, don't hesitate to share us with your friends and fellow Disney lovers of all ages.
Thank you for listening. We'll be in your ears next week.
Thank you for flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.